I tend to agree with everything you said, but just with a caveat, which is um, your answer is taking into consideration the state of AI today. But what about AI
Uh,
10, 20, 30 year down
oh
the
yeah,
road? I think
yeah,
we're not even imagining how good it's going to be. Could it be
correct.
possible that in 30 years down the road, AI understands the human psyche you were alluding to even better than us, has more empathy than us humans, and things that we believe are irreplaceable or native to human nature today are
Yep.
going to be part of what machines are able to do down the road.
Entirely possible. I mean, like you're basically talking about about the point where artificial intelligence becomes indistinguishable from humanity. And actually is you're talking about artificial super intelligence effectively, right? So if that's the case, then guess what? Our industry is not unique. Our industry is impacted by the same forces as the rest of the universe. And guess what? Every industry will be absolutely disrupted by what that looks like. So
Uh-huh.
what does the future world look like? Is it this utopian version of nobody working and just pursuing arts and passions and whatever, and artificial intelligence takes care of everything for us? Or is it this dystopian world where we're used as batteries, like whatever else it is? Like the reality is none of us know, but we do know it's going to be different. Do we think for 1 second that if we pulled someone out of 1950, that they'd be able to predict anything that we live with today, smartphones, the internet, all that stuff? Do you think that they would have envisioned that necessarily or understood the nature of work the way it was? I'll go back 100 years ago to people, which was a largely agrarian, 150 years ago, a largely agrarian society. Do you think we could have seen that? No. So you're right. There's a potential for massive disruption,
Mhm.
and maybe this job doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is that the near-term future and the midterm future is closer to the present than people think it is. And I wrote an article on this about artificial intelligence, is that don't expect your business to change in the next 2 years very much, but it will change a lot in the next 10 years. And part of the reason is, again, humanity in a different way, and that's friction. Think
Mm.
about, we already have lots of technologies that can do lots of things, but the reality is, okay, I'll give you a simple example. Um, there existed pre-Gen AI the technology and ability to automate every back office in a bank to the nth degree, so that no one needed to push paper or do dual entry. Did those people still exist pushing paper and doing dual entry? Yep. Because at the end of the day, institutional friction, whether that be individual, whether that be incentivized or not, or the individual's ability to change, cannot keep up with the innovative pace of technology. So part of the problem is that we as human beings are not going to implement it at the same speed that it's developed. So
Mhm.
therefore, there's always going to be a lag, right? So in 10 years' time, is your practice going to look very completely different? And are you going to basically be doing higher order things? Probably. In 2 years' time, is that going to be the case? Probably not. But you will have gained small incremental gains. And I will always say too that, look, we're at the beginning of the hype cycle on this. Do we really know where the boundary on this is? I've heard people in the AI space that say that Gen AI is not the ultimate solution to creating artificial superintelligence for various technical reasons they want to geek out over. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's assume that for a second that that's true. Okay, if that's true, then we don't make that discovery for another 20, 30 years, right? Then now that pushes the timeline out even further. So the reality is we don't know where the boundary of this technology is at this point, or what it's fully going to be capable of. But also, let's also remember that the technology is just a tool. The use case is what matters, right? So look at already how many. We're over 2 years into the Gen AI world. Okay, the hype cycle. We've reached the Gartner hype cycle peak of all of this stuff that's happening. How many practical implementations of Gen AI have you seen in an advisory practice to date? Let's take meeting notation and put it aside, because that's the one that seems everybody's jumped onto, because it's a painful point. How much Gen AI do you think is currently being used in advisory practices today? How many tools have been developed that are Gen AI based that do anything other than meeting notation? And I'll tell you right now, that number is incredibly small, because just like when blockchain came out and everybody said, oh, this is great, this is the future, this is going to replace all clearance and everything else. And we're sitting over 10 years into is it 10 years? Yeah, no, we're sitting over 10. Wow. So 2008, wow, do the math on that. We're sitting over 15 years into the blockchain revolution. And what's been the revolution? I haven't seen a revolution. AI has got greater potential, 100%. Part of it's going to be how we figure out how to apply that technology to actual real underlying problems. And so far, that's been slow.